Do it again, do it again.
But I want to talk about something pretty serious today. I should go into introductions, which, good God, we've actually been recording for like the past like 17 minutes now, and we have just been rambling. Uh, uh, that's all right. Thankfully, though, I can edit this. I don't know if I'll keep that beginning part in. We'll see.
Eh,
Hey everybody, welcome to the Other People podcast. I'm Jordan. Joining me as always is my good friend Andy.
hi. Sorry about the beginning part of it. We just kind of got into a bit of a rambling thing.
No, that's all right. That's all right. It was a good, interesting
Eh,
rambling, I think. Um,
I was
but
actually getting ready to say we really should be recording this.
yeah, yeah. Well, and thankfully we were.
We already were, so hey.
Yeah. But I wanted to talk about something that's kind of been on my mind for quite a while. It was kind of stirring up a conversation in my head. Uh, and it is quite related to some of what we've been talking about with the accessibility and such things like that. Um, so I I don't truly know how old this story is. I could look it up, but I want to stay away from like hopping online right now. Uh, I mean, mostly because I don't want to distract myself or anything like that. But so
Oops.
no, not that. Um, so I was at work the other day, um, and I was on break, and always in the break room, there's always, all of these People magazine, and stuff like that, and I tend to stay away from stuff like that, because it's like I don't want to read about the trivial lives of celebrities. Like, yeah, it's great, that they're, happy and all this. I just don't have a whole lot of interest
Celebrities,
in.
they're just like us. They go to the grocery store. They get
Oh my God! Look,
permed.
they're not wearing makeup. Look how real they
Normal they
look.
look.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I don't really give a shit about that. But there was this story uh, that I found like while I was just flipping through it, and then it caught my eye and had a very base reaction. Where the story was the 17-year-old girl
Uh-huh.
brutally murdered her stepfather and her mother, and then ran away and was captured by authorities. Um, and well, as I read a bit more into it, they were talking about how uh, she she had like she was online all the time, on social media networks and stuff like that, and always talking and complaining about her life, and neighbors and friends, I guess, were saying how while she was online, she was obviously a lot more honest, and how she seemed to constantly talk about how she was obsessed with the idea of death and dying and all this, and she was constantly complaining about how her parents were very strict and trying to control her life and all this, um and so right away, I mean, my base reaction when I read about how like she hated her parents because they were very strict, because they didn't want her staying out late all night with her friends or being on her
Mm-hmm.
phone all the damn time, so much so that they would actually take her phone away from her. I, my immediate reaction was, you fucking child.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell is wrong with you? Grow up. But as I thought about it and read a bit more into it, uh, I couldn't help but wonder how different would my life have been, or be, like if I was born, not, before social media, and before the internet. I mean, I was born,
Yeah.
long before, we had, such a connectivity, with Facebook and Twitter, and all that. And where we are, well, not all of us, just about everybody is connected in some way or another.
Mm-hmm.
And I wondered, how differently would my life be if I grew up, today, where, like, everybody has an iPhone, everybody has a computer, everybody has a laptop, everybody is connected, we're all, because it's a very funny thing, because people are different online than they are in public and in real life.
Well, yeah, because they think that, because they're sitting there safe at home, nobody can do anything about it.
Well, it's not just that. It's, because I can be a bit differently when I'm when I'm online. Not the idea that, that I go online and I'm a complete and utter asshole. No, I'm still...
No.
I, just try to be a decent human being. Like, even when I'm online. Like, if I don't enjoy something, I'm not going to say, oh, this was fucking stupid and this completely wasted my time. If I'm doing, maybe a vlog on a game or a movie that I didn't enjoy, I might say that out of just anger, but I try to be objective about my thoughts. But yeah, and it's also because, too, like, I don't get any sort of weird enjoyment out of doing that. Out of, going online, just trolling people or being an ass. I would have to, I still wonder, about people who do that all the damn time. Like, I can't help but wonder, like, how do you get enjoyment out of doing that? And obviously, it's the fact that, well, you get all this attention. It's like,
Yeah,
well,
it's mostly just the attention.
But at the same time, like, I can't help but think that, why do you only seek negative... I don't like, negative attention. At all.
Well, when you're... Any attention at all, even negative attention can be good for, It's a weird thing.
Well, see, because negative attention to me is somebody saying, you're a fucking loser, why don't you kill yourself?
Yeah.
But
some people, any attention is good, even if it is negative.
Yeah. Well,
they're
that's
weird
the kind
that
of...
way.
Well, and that's the kind of attention that I would prefer to avoid.
Yeah. Anyway.
But, and I mean, because I can understand to kind of a point, because I have had those moments in my life, and I still kind of have them from time to time, where I think about, I hate my life, I kind of hate the situation that I'm in, but thankfully, I have a pretty good family life, and I have some pretty good friends, and, and I mean, obviously, because there's a vast age difference, first of all. Because I'm like 34 years old now, and I can obviously think a bit more clearly about, like, well, that's a pretty stupid decision, to want to, make such a rash decision like that, and, like, for such a little thing like, oh, they took away your cell phone? Oh, God forbid. Why don't you go
they
read
wouldn't
a book
let me
or something?
talk to my friends constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because, like,
at 34 or 35, like I am, I can kind of look like, that was pretty childish of you. But at 17?
Well, I mean, when your phone, is kind of,
when
your
it's
life.
kind of your life and kind of your outlet to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's still, and I mean, I'm not saying at all, oh, that's a perfectly
we're not trying to defend what she did here, people.
No. We're trying to understand.
Yeah.
And one other thing actually two other things of note. Her parents obviously, also had a large disagreement with her because at the same time she was dating a guy who was older than her. She also had 3 other siblings. And what happened was she got into a heated argument about her boyfriend, who was 22 years old at the time.
Okay, yeah, there's a bit of an age gap there.
Well, it's also illegal, too, because she's 17. So you can certainly understand.
Only if they have sex. Only if they have sex.
Yeah, true.
So,
but still, at the same time, I mean, I can understand, like...
It's still kind of...
Yeah. Well, I mean... God. I might hate bringing this up, but if I had somebody who was 16 or 17 years old, who was interested in me, I'd be like, come back to me in a couple of years.
Yeah. It's kind of... Well, you remember Kennan, right? Back in high school. You remember him? He always had on the leather jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he kind of flirted with my mother a little bit first time he met her. Mother's reaction was kind of like, oh, this is kind of fun, and this 17-year-old kid's flirting with me. And then after a while, she went, wait a minute, this is kind of wrong.
And she probably also realized, too, they're like, oh, he's being serious about this.
And he wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
He wasn't. He was being Kennan.
Okay,
Basically, he was a dirty old man in training. Anyway.
Okay.
That was kind of the point that I was kind of bringing up, was that most responsible adults would probably be a little flattered at first.
Well, I would.
And then they would start thinking about it, and then the whole factor would kick in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think 22 is an adult.
Yeah, it's not that, but I can kind of see where her parents were at.
Oh yeah. It's like, no, he's 22 years old. I'm sorry, no.
Yeah.
But and so what happened was she got into a furious argument with her stepfather, who, as I understand it, was a bit controlling, which is something I can understand. Not going into a lot of detail about that.
No.
And so what happened, as I read, was that she, I guess, ran away to her room. He started pounding on her door, and then, I don't know if it's from one of the children or what, but suddenly 2 gunshots were heard. And then the mother ran upstairs and got into a furious argument and a huge fight with her daughter. And then one of the siblings, I think, said that later saw the girl, Ashley, come downstairs and covered in blood. And she told her siblings that we are going to pretend to go on a camping trip, and that she locked them in a bedroom with snacks and juice, and then she left the house and I guess left the state with her boyfriend.
Okay.
Now, as I later read on, the boyfriend was not
not aware of what she'd done.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I imagine he obviously became aware later on.
Yeah.
I don't know about a lot of the other details or anything like that, but she pled not guilty in the case and claimed that she had some sort of a mental disorder. I don't know if she did talk to a shrink or anything like that, like before or even during the trial or anything like that. I just can't help but think, because, I mean, we all know how kids are these days. And kids can be very erratic, especially at that time in their life.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's unfortunate, but...
Yeah.
And I kind of got my own theories as to why, but I'm going to save that for some other later date.
Okay.
That's an all different kind of discussion.
Okay. Because
and it would make me sound like a jerk.
Yeah. I can understand the feeling. I've had that too. Which was kind of why at the beginning, I was saying when I first read about that, kind of my first initial reaction was, "You fucking moron! What the hell's wrong with you? You're such an idiot." And it wasn't until
as
after,
you read on that you kind of was like, "Oh."
Okay. Well, then this is kind of a complicated issue, but at the same time, like any other person or adult would probably say the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I'll give you another example.
You self-important child.
Yeah.
But,
like I'll give you another example. Some odd years ago, back when I used to work at Walmart, there was this guy who I kind of knew who worked there. He was kind of a manager over me, and he was a jerk. He was an absolute jerk. I never liked him. And he had this girlfriend.
I understand there was a lot of people in Walmart back in Idaho that were like that.
Oh yeah. And well, he had this girlfriend who was also in kind of the same position as him. And one night, one of the fellow employees who I was talking to, who was kind of a buddy of mine, was asking me like, "Hey, so like, do you think she's cute?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, she's kind of cute, but she's kind of a bitch, so that's a bit of a deal killer for me." And then some odd days later, this guy got right in my face and told me that, I guess, somebody had told him that I was going around the store telling everybody that I was in love with her.
What?
Which was not true.
No.
And I told him, no, that's a lie.
Like, who the hell told you that?
And
they lied to you.
And he was, he looked like he was prepared, to just want to kick my ass. Because of this, which was just utterly stupid. And then, like, that was kind of like my last sort of face-to-face talk that I ever had with this guy, which just kind of, reinforced the idea that, yeah, you're a douchebag. And
you're a douchebag at that.
Well, sometime later, I'm hanging out with Brett and Brandon, the twins.
Yeah.
And Brandon comes home, I believe, from work and walks in and says, "Guys, you know that guy? I don't remember his name." Well, he tells me the whole story about it, that apparently his girlfriend, he found out his girlfriend was cheating on him with somebody else at the store. And that he went out to a pawn shop, bought a gun, and killed himself. Well, my first reaction and first thing I said was, "Oh, so she's available then."
Oh!
Which,
too soon, man. Too soon.
I know. While I look back on it, yeah, that was a terrible thing to say.
Yeah.
But, and I mean, when I look back on it, like, it's not like this guy ever, like, called me names or, no, he was just a rude, very authoritative jerk. Was my main problem that I always had with him, where he never treated me with like any sort of respect or was like ever nice to me once. Or anything like he constantly looked down on me. And I have no respect for people like that.
Yeah.
At all. And especially with that confrontation, that I had with him, there's like, so you heard this bullshit rumor and you're pissed at me for that?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but yeah, that was a terrible thing to say. I will still admit, though, I do still think it's funny. But
yeah, it was a little funny, but it was also kind of, dude, really?
Yeah, 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 it was. But but that's kind of the example I'm making, where because like you'll get into situations where anybody will make any sort of a terrible joke out of a tragedy, uh, out of any
Well,
sort of
yeah.
tragedy like that. Like hell, like there were some assholes out there who were perfectly willing to throw out jokes at Robin Williams' expense after his
Mhm.
suicide.
Mhm.
And even much
Hmm.
worse, where there are still people out there who are perfectly willing to make 9/11 jokes. Which, yeah, it's like, that's not funny. And I could imagine it being even worse if somebody who heard one of those jokes had a family member or a friend who died at 9/11.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, you are a big piece of shit.
It's like,
You know,
you are a douchebag.
yeah. Which is kind of how I felt, when I think about that, and especially in relation to that sort of a story, where it's like, yeah, that's a complicated kind of a douchey issue,
Mm.
yeah, but
I still think she was being kind of a selfish child a little bit, but
yes,
at the same time, it's kind of, oh, there are some circumstances there.
kind of,
Hmm.
yes. And I mean, from what I understand, though, the parents were strict, but they weren't abusive.
Well, there's different, yeah. So,
Yeah.
and quite frankly, as I said, that's like a whole other issue with me about kids nowadays. But
Yes. Yes. Um. Because I'll admit, I've had a lot of moments in my life, and still have them. From time to time, where maybe I'm in a particular mindset or something really sets me off. Like hell, I could go back to any moment, uh, it, especially when I was much younger. Because thankfully now, if I get really depressed or really bothered by something, I don't have not a lot of suicidal thoughts, and thankfully I'm in no mindset to try to go through with it. I mean,
yeah,
a lot of shit would obviously have to happen. Like I lost my job, I lost my best friend, I lost my mom. Yeah, that would
yeah,
be yeah,
mm,
that would be the sort of thing that would make me think I want to kill myself.
yeah.
That would be the
Yeah,
penultimate I want
and
to
for
kill
all those
myself.
people who think like, well, why would you even think that? I've never had a suicidal thought in my brain. They're lying to you.
Yeah,
Everybody has it at one point or another.
yeah. And I mean, you can certainly have that mindset. And I mean, I've had it for really stupid reasons.
Oh yeah,
Especially,
especially when you're a kid in high school.
oh yeah, oh yeah, because
I've certainly had it.
yeah, because when you're in high school, you think that is the most important time in your life, and really, it's not.
yeah,
But
yeah. Which some teacher actually thinks like, no, you really should enjoy this. Or this is the most important time. This is the best time in your life. And then my immediate phone's like, really? Well, then let me put the gun to my head right now because
yeah,
this sucks.
yeah, yeah, because you're
And
very
it
socially
did.
awkward. Well, and yeah,
Yeah.
well, and like everybody's high school uh, uh, experience is always very different. And I mean, it did get better for me near the end.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it wasn't so great at the beginning, especially for the first 2 years, because at the same time, like, because like before that, you know, like for a great example, you and I, we had a really weird time during high school.
Oh yeah.
Because before that, we had, rebonded, and we became, really good friends again.
Mhm.
And then high school, you were hanging out, with these other guys, and these other guys really didn't like me.
Mhm.
And so in return, I fucking hated them. and then that, kind of created this weird sort of drift between you and I, because you
Kinda
want to hang
created
out
a
with
little
them
bit
and
of
I
friction.
really didn't.
Yeah.
And so I felt quite alone for quite a while there, because all I really had was like one other friend.
Yeah. But it got better.
Yeah, it got better when I got into my junior year.
Yeah.
And then you and I, we could hang out again. That, and we had, well, you had a different set of core friends, especially who you were hanging out with at that point too.
Yeah. That's about the time that the twins started entering into our lives.
Yes. And I mean, I do wonder if it was maybe my social awkwardness that that made it difficult for me to try to make new friends or anything like that, or if it was just that.
As my mother just said about me, that you are just one of those people that people either love or hate the first time they see you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and it's kind of true about me, especially back in the early years.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I
that
don't know
teachers
about
either
that.
loved me or they hated me.
Well, I mean, well, hell, God, I wish I could remember how it was when we first met, as kids.
Yeah, because that was a long time ago.
And I can't. I mean, actually, I can remember what probably made us, want to hang out with each other all the time was because we were both, huge into, the Ninja Turtles, and so we both, like, brought our toys and were, playing with them together out on the playground, and then, and then obviously we were just hanging out together all the time.
Yeah.
But again, like, that was a very different time. This was long before, like, oh, we all have cell phones in our pockets, we're all connected. Like, no, if you want to connect with other people, you just went out
You
and
actually
you
had to physically be there with that person.
Yeah. And it was much easier then because, you weren't hiding behind a different persona. And it...
Yeah.
Because, I mean, for me, online,
You basically weren't showing a picture of yourself that was basically a lie. Like some people do. Some people do. They actually will sit there and Photoshop themselves and...
Well, or they'll, use another picture as their avatar. Like, oh, like, I visualize myself as this powerful, and cool knight, or this, very sexy, anime person,
Yeah, and you actually meet them and they're nothing like that.
well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Well, avatars are different. I'm talking about people that will actually go take old pictures of themselves and actually sit there and Photoshop and take out the imperfections.
Yeah, that I can see, yes.
Yeah.
But, like, what I was going to say was that I do find it's easier for me to talk to people online. It is. And again, like, not because, like, oh, I can be this asshole persona and it doesn't matter. No. I am myself online. I am, just a very nice, very nerdy and very talkative person who's like, hey, I like this stuff too. Let's talk about that. Like, okay. And, and so it is easier for me to connect with other people online, whether it's, hey, we're nerding out about video games, about movies, about, all this other stuff that we have in common and that we like, and da-da-da. But, but it's harder for me to try to meet or talk to people in real life, obviously because I am very socially conscious. I have a speech impediment, which makes it very difficult for me to try to talk to anybody. And which is something that I am still very much ashamed of. I am. It's something that earlier on in my life was much, much worse than it is.
Oh, yeah, you couldn't hardly talk at all, so I recall.
And there were probably points in my life where, because of that, I didn't want to talk. Because I saw
remember,
no point in
especially, like, right after high school, or even during high school, when we'd be, like, going to, like, a restaurant or something after the movie, to where I essentially kind of had to order for you because you couldn't talk.
Yeah. And that can still happen. And, like, hell, like, I can, go into or I could just be trying to talk to somebody, and I will have to stop because my stutter or whatever the hell it is gets so bad that I can't spit out whatever it is I'm trying to say, that I have to stop and shut my eyes and kind of concentrate, and then I can talk.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a thing about myself that I absolutely hate. I hate it. And it's even worse. And I mean, this doesn't happen a lot, but it did happen a few times with you in the past. And I mean, thankfully, you don't do it anymore. But there were a few times where it would get so bad that suddenly you would kind of make fun of me for it.
Well, I was stupid back then.
Yeah, I know. And that would really hurt me. Because I would, almost want to say, like, that's not fucking funny. And anyway, this is, kind of touching in a very, very, very dark and weird place. I don't really think I want to go to. But,
let's move on to something else now.
My point is that we all have our personal issues that may keep us or even shy us away from wanting to try to connect more with people. Because I would like to be able to try and go out and talk to other people, but I can't go up and just start trying to talk to a random stranger. That's weird to me.
And actually, how weird would that be if someone just walked up to you and started talking to you just at random about something? You'd immediately think, okay, what the heck is wrong with this weirdo?
Yeah. Now, that can work in some aspects when it's like, hey, you like this thing or whatever? And sometimes that can kind of start a conversation.
Yeah.
As opposed to somebody just walking up to you and just having, like, hi, how are you doing? And then trying to kind of force a conversation with you, or...
Yeah.
But anyway, to get back to our main point, I mean, we all have our social awkwardness, and things like that. And obviously, so did this person, too.
Mm-hmm.
Where, it seems very obvious to me that this person did or was not talking to the right people, or probably anybody. Was that she was taking all of her frustrations and putting them online.
And I'd say quite a few people do that now.
Oh yeah.
So,
I mean,
which is fine. You need an outlet for your frustrations.
Yeah. Yes. But I think at the same time, and it's kind of funny that I'm saying this, but like, it's probably better to talk to people that you're very close to, be they friends, or even be they family. And the reason why I say that's very funny to me is because to this day, I have a hard time getting personal and talking about my problems with my parents.
Oh, it's kind of awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
but if anybody's not going to judge you for your problems, it's going to be your parents.
Well, and yeah, I mean, just taken from me, my mom and my stepfather are very kind, sweet, and accepting, and understanding, and loving people.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the same for every other household.
Yeah. There are some weird parents out there that kind of seem to look at their kids as if they're in competition with their kid.
Or that their kids are pets, or that they're toys.
Or they're living vicariously through their kids.
Yes. And there are terrible examples and terrible stories that come out of that all the time. Now, I don't know the full details about these parents, other than that they were fairly strict with her. But as far as I know, there was no abuse. There was certainly no mention of abuse.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. If there was, then I can certainly understand.
Yeah, then there might be a little bit of justification there, but it doesn't sound like it. It sounds like they were trying to kind of get her a little bit under control.
Yeah.
Which is something parents should do.
Yes. And not a lot of parents do.
Yeah.
Which, is always a common thing that you'll hear about.
Yeah.
I guess, and we'll wrap it up here in a bit. I guess, obviously, my final point is that you shouldn't keep things bottled up. But at the same time, I can understand, because it's very hard to be honest with someone. It is. Also, because, I am very passive-aggressive. I am. Where if somebody does something that bothers me, I don't say anything about it. And that is something that is very much another thing about myself that I absolutely hate. I'll go into a bit more of an example. I had this guy who I almost went out with, and I'm glad I didn't, because he was very verbally abusive to me. Not, like he was calling me names all the time, because that would just be really fucked up and a weird sort of relationship to get into.
Yeah.
No, it was that he would talk down about me all the time. Say that I haven't really done anything with my life, I'm a loser, I shelter myself in my home, and on that one aspect, he is right.
Mm-hmm.
I do shelter myself a lot in my room and in my home. I do. And the other sad fact is that I do think that I am a loser. I haven't done a lot or really anything with my life. And that is obviously where a lot of the depression and where a lot of the problems can come from when you start delving into that thought process too much that I haven't done anything with my life. But it's also the fact, too, that I really can't. And kind of...
Well, there's like a whole difference between having the ability to actually do something.
Yes.
And not. You really kind of don't, because you don't got the money to do it.
Exactly. Well,
yeah.
well, that's a conversation we can have off mic. But, I do have... I do have aspirations like hell. Like, I would love to be able to see the world as, I guess, sort of a bucket list, but like not by myself. Hey, I would maybe like to take a big group of friends, and we go to Japan, we go to Europe, we go to all of these other different places and just see the world.
Have a grand old time.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, maybe that is something that maybe in the long run someday, maybe we could do. Who knows?
Yeah. I certainly wouldn't mind that at all.
Yeah. And but it was, and what made me so angry about that and about him, because it wasn't just him saying, oh, they're like, you're a loser, blah, blah, blah. He also added on the little bit of, I have all these amazing guys around me, they're doing all these things with their lives, and they want to be with me. And that later on, as I was going home, and I was just filled with so much anger and hatred, not just towards him, but towards me, because I didn't say anything, because I didn't stand up for myself. And I still don't. And that's a problem I've had all my life, where I look back on a lot of aspects of my life, namely, like where I was bullied a lot, pushed around a lot, where I didn't stand up for myself. Yeah, there are those few rare occasions where you can, say to somebody who's just being an asshole, go fuck yourself. But at the same time, you kind of wish that you did more about it. But I am very thankful in the fact that there have been parts of my life where my family were there for me, though for some stupid reason I still feel like I can't talk to my family about that because it just feels weird or it's hard for me to talk about it. But
yeah, it'd be like talking about sex with your parents.
Yeah.
It's that they've had it. I mean, you wouldn't be here if they didn't.
Yes.
But you still don't like to think about it.
Yes. It's a lot like that.
Yeah.
Kind of. To give you some sort of an example on how to understand that. But, I mean, obviously if you are having any sort of issues or problems, you do need to talk about it. Especially with somebody who understands it or who is perfectly well and like not even say like an expert or anything like that, just somebody who's willing to listen and understand. And I mean, hopefully if you have a caring and loving family, you can talk to them about it too. But just for the love of God, talk to somebody.
Yeah.
So that, because we don't need things like this happening.
No. There's enough fucked up things in the world. We don't need to add to it.
Yeah. And I mean, it does, I do have to admit, like, I feel very hypocritical right now, saying these things, when at the same time, I don't and can't really talk a lot of the time. And I mean, thankfully I have gone back a few times and I have spoken to like my sister or my parents about a few problems or a few feelings that I have been having. And thankfully they will listen and they will try to give you advice. Uh-oh. Hey, buddy.
Hello.
Sorry about that.
Stupid.
Yeah, just completely closed on you. All right. Well, this is going to require a lot of editing. And sadly, I kind of lost my train of thought. But what I...
You were in the middle of describing talking to your family, mostly your sister.
Okay, so the long and short of it is that hopefully if you have a good family, or even if you have some really good friends, and hopefully no friends that, pretend that they care about you, or people who, I don't know, like to manipulate you, because there are people like that out there.
Oh, yeah.
I would say, most of all, hopefully if you have someone close, someone who cares about you, somebody who you can talk to in person, especially, that you can sit down and talk to and actually express how you feel, how you're feeling, what you're going through, what you think you're going through, and somebody who's willing to listen and hopefully willing to help you.
But, as he said, make sure that they are a real friend who actually cares about you and isn't more along their lines of their own self-interest. Because there are a lot of so-called friends out there that really don't give a shit about you.
Very much. And I think that is all that we're going to say for right now. It's been a bit of a downer subject.
Yeah, it is whenever you're talking about a 17-year-old girl killing her
Well,
parents.
and I mean, it can,
or in general, anything like that.
because, now, I mean, I'm sure we all have, a similar relation, or even, better examples, or perhaps even the same examples that can be related to it, but it is still something that does need to be talked about and does need to be discussed.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, after all, I mean, we all have those feelings and we all have those thoughts. For those people who like to claim that, oh, I don't have anything like that. Maybe you do.
They're lying, or they're not really people.
Who knows?
Yeah.
And
They're not really human, because that's part of being human, is you have those thoughts.
yeah, that's a good point. Well, everybody, this has been the Other People podcast, and I hope that you guys have enjoyed. We will come back next time and talk about something a little bit different, and obviously
not quite so down and dark.
I mean, we'll get back into our gaming discussions and things like that, and hopefully on a, well, I want to see if I can get more people to join in, but I'm not really sure, because everybody's schedule is always very different from mine. But anyway, we hope that you guys have enjoyed, and in fact, please let us know what you think. And we will see you guys next time. Ciao, and take care.
Let me take a minute and tell you my plan. Let me take a